First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. 2, 3. For where'er we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Keep it rolling, and the army goes rolling along. Along.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to LinkedIn. We are so excited to have you here today. You know, for me personally, it's amazing to see so many men and women in uniform here today, so that's exciting, and we got a really great event for you. So before we'll let everybody settle in here, but before we kick off things today, we have another special appearance by our In Tune, which is our a cappella group here. So I'm going to ask everybody to rise and face the flag, which is over here. And In Tune's going to perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, how about a round of applause for In Tune up here? All right. Thank you very much. That was terrific. We appreciate it. It's pretty cool having your own in-house a cappella group at your company. So not many people have that. So hello again, everyone. My name's Greg Call. I am a Marine veteran, and I have the privilege and honor of being the head of the veterans programs here at LinkedIn. And so today we have a very special event for you, which we've been planning for a long time, and we have a very special guest coming to visit us here at LinkedIn. Before that, a few details. Normally these events run from 10 to 11, but Florent has been gracious enough to stay on for another half an hour afterwards to answer any questions, so we'll do a nice Q&A from 11 to 11:30. But feel free, if you have meetings, LinkedIn employees, or if you have to get up and go, no disrespect, feel free to get up and leave. In addition, Flo, we're going to have a little stand-up here at the end, and Florent will be happy to sign autographs on the wonderful flowers we've passed out, take a nice picture. So please take advantage of that. All right, so before we get into introducing our host and our guest for today, I'd like to recognize a few individuals, a few units that have graced us with their appearance today. So when I say the name of your unit, if you could just stand up and remain standing. So do we have the soldiers from the San Jose MEPS here today? All right. How about the 129th Rescue Wing? All right. The 63rd Regional Support Command. How about our future leaders, the Cal ROTC? Ron? And Vets in Tech, are you here today? All right. Let's give everybody a round of applause. Serving our country. All right, thank you for coming today. It's an honor for us to have you here. We appreciate you coming.
Excuse me, would you have the 351st here also today?
Very well, the 351st. Yeah. And thank you for that. I'm guessing you were in the service too at some point. All right.
I'm working with these guys.
All right. Good deal. Great. So like I said, honored to have you here today. It's going to be a great event. I'll stop flapping my gums up here, but I want to tell two quick stories to announce our host and our guest. The first one is our host. So around 4 years ago, I transitioned out of the Marine Corps. And I did the most logical thing you can do when you transition directly out of the military. I started a tech company. So about 3 months into that, I knew I was in way over my head. And so I reached out for help. I reached out to our community for help. And through an organization called the Jonas Project, I was set up with a senior marketing director at Apple that was interested in helping veterans start businesses. That connection turned into a mentor, a board of advisor member, and most importantly, a great friend. And that connection's here today. And I'd like everybody to welcome LinkedIn's Vice President of Marketing and a warrior, civilian warrior for the veteran community, Nick Bartle.
Thanks, Greg.
And now for our special guest today, who we couldn't be more honored to have here at LinkedIn. A quick story that I'd like to tell to preface before we bring Florent out. I had the privilege when I was a Marine officer of leading a rifle platoon. So I had 40 to 45 Marine grunts, 18, 19-year-olds, that I led on a daily basis for around a year. The best job I'll ever have in my life. And it's truly an honor. But I would train those Marines very, very hard. And we would train very, very hard every day. And when we go out and do some especially difficult training, I always carried in my back pocket a Medal of Honor citations. To recognize, Medal of Honor recognizes the heroes of heroes, the best of the best in the military that have put their life at risk for this country. And I would take it, I would put it in my back pocket, and we would run. And when I saw my Marines getting really tired, really worn out, and quite frankly, a little angry at me, we would stop, and we would stand at attention, and I would read these citations. And when I read these citations, every little bit of pain you felt was insignificant. It was inconsequential. And it brought you back to life and inspired you to push harder and push through based on the examples that these Medal of Honor recipients laid for us in the military. And so in that tradition, I'd like to have everybody rise up, and I'm going to read the official Medal of Honor citation for Florent Groberg. For those in uniform, attention orders. Captain Florent A. Groberg distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as Personal Security Detachment Commander for Task Force Mountain Warrior, 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division. During combat operations against an armed enemy in Asadabad, Kunar Province, Afghanistan on August 8th, 2012. On that day, Captain Groberg was leading a dismounted movement consisting of several senior leaders to include 2 brigade commanders, 2 battalion commanders, 2 command sergeant majors, and an Afghan National Army brigade commander. As they approached the provincial governor's compound, Captain Groberg observed an individual walking close to the formation. When the individual made an abrupt turn towards the formation, he noticed an abnormal bulge underneath the individual's clothing. Selflessly placing himself in front of one of the brigade commanders, Captain Groberg rushed forward, using his body to push the suspect away from the formation. Simultaneously, he ordered another member of the security detail to assist with removing the suspect. At that time, Captain Groberg confirmed the bulge was a suicide vest. And with complete disregard for his life, Captain Groberg, again, with the assistance of another member of the security detail, physically pushed the suicide bomber away from the formation. Upon falling, the suicide bomber detonated his explosive vest outside the perimeter of the formation, killing 4 members of the formation and wounding numerous others. The blast from the first suicide bomber caused the suicide vest of a previously unnoticed second suicide bomber to detonate prematurely with minimal cause of casualty. Captain Groberg's immediate actions to push the first suicide bomber away from the formation significantly minimized the impact of the coordinated suicide bomber's attack on the formation, saving the lives of his comrades and several senior leaders. Captain Groberg's extraordinary heroism and selflessness above and beyond the call of duty at the risk of life are in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect credit upon himself, 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division, and the United States Army. So there's very few people in this world whose actions speak everything about their character and their soul. Florent is one of them. So I'd like us all to give a warm welcome to Medal of Honor recipient, Florent Groberg.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Nick.
Welcome, Florent.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, Florent. We're so excited to have you here, as you can tell by the presence. What I'd like to do is ask you some questions about your life.
Okay.
And have you share some of what you've learned from your experiences with this audience here, and then there are plenty more watching remotely as well. So why don't we get into this? Florent, you know what many people may not know is that you were born in France.
Was.
We joked earlier about an Englishman and a Frenchman shaking hands.
Absolutely.
But you were born in France. Your mother's French, of Algerian descent. You lived in Spain. I understand you didn't speak English before you were 11 years old. You became a US citizen when you were 21 years old. And yet, President Obama, in giving you the Medal of Honor, referenced you as an American we can all be grateful for. So I'm wondering what role you think your unique background has played in shaping you to be the person you are today.
So, first of all, it is a great feat that we are sitting here together, French, British. The French did win the 100 Years' War. So we
Took you 100 years, though.
Okay, well. But, you know, I grew up in France. I was born and raised just outside of Paris. And I never met my biological father. And my mom is French Algerian. And when I was about 3 years old, my mother met Larry Groberg, who, you know, in time became my father. He adopted me. And he's from Gary, Indiana, of all places. So when I was 3, we moved to Spain to follow him because he worked for Motorola, IBM, and then we went back to France. So that was the start of my experience of being just changing and being adaptive to a new community, a new culture. Because I went from France to Spain and speaking Spanish. You know, I came back from France, I spoke Spanish, and then a few more years in France, and then next thing you know, we're in the United States. But throughout my youth, I always associated myself as an American because Larry raised me that way. He told me, I mean, heck, I was a huge soccer fan of, Marseille, and I did end up being a fan of Liverpool. But I grew up with, Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears, Cubbies, things. I didn't even know what baseball was until I came to the United States, but I wore a bunch of caps and, socks and things like that. And so he always spoke about how amazing the United States was. And all I knew about the United States was Larry and TV, Hollywood, So when he said, when I was about 11 years old and he told our family, hey, we're going to move to Chicago, and this is the last time, we'll be living as a family in France. Are you okay with this? I was pumped. I was absolutely, take me, let's go right now. And that was one of the most amazing, incredible experiences of my life. The only problem was I didn't speak English. So when I got here, it took a little bit of time to adjust. But anytime a person is put in a certain situation where they have no choice but to adapt and learn, it's incredible how fast we do. And it took a couple years. I went from being 11 years old here to a freshman in high school, and I was in regular English, to honors English sophomore year. And then, getting a college degree,
Right.
and going out there to run track at University of Maryland. But it was an experience, and I think it shaped me to be that type of person who can go walk into different types of situation and understand the culture in it and adapt to it to be successful. But yeah.
You mentioned track back then, and you're a very accomplished runner. I think we've got a picture of you here running track, I love this picture here.
Oh, come on.
Look at that.
That picture of all pictures.
Look at the grim determination on that face there.
Oh my goodness.
I understand you run a mile you ran a mile in the low 4s, 2 miles in the low 9s, and you've said before that running made you the person you are. Can you talk a little bit about how it did that?
Absolutely. So this is actually New York Armory, and I was a junior, and I barely beat that guy. And that was a 1,000-meter race, ran 2:28.1, which was I was pretty excited about that specific race. So I remember it clearly, but what an ugly picture. Wow. Okay, buddy. But yes, so believe it or not, I was forced to run track by my mother. She said, "You're playing soccer in the fall, but in the winter, in the spring, you're over here, just going out there playing basketball in the streets and playing video games. This is unacceptable. You need to be doing a sport. So you're going to be running track." I thought she was crazy. I did not see anything fun in running around the track. Just didn't. I really didn't. And finally, I was that athlete where I was forced to go, and when we would do 400-meter repeats, I would say 6. I'd do the first one, and I would walk back to school really slow. Get a sip of water and walk all the way back, and then miss 3 or 4. And then I'd go out there, run the next one and do the same thing. And my coaches just kind of saw me as one of these individuals who just didn't want to be here, but I had potential talent, and they were going to groom me in a certain way. And this is where I learned a lot about myself. It was in this sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school. Really the sophomore and junior year. It all changed on 2 occasions. The first occasion is when the best runner in the state was on our team. And we ran at Hagerstown High School, and I was in a junior varsity race, and I was running a mile. And during that race, this individual looked at me and said, "Keep your eyes on his shoulder. Don't let him go." And all I could think about was, oh my God, he's talking to me. I mean, this guy was a legend. He walked around, the girls loved him. He was one of the best runners in the state. His sister was an Olympian. I was excited. So I won that race. Didn't run fast, but I won that race. And that's when it kind of clicked. And I said, oh, this is fun. Winning. I like that. Maybe I'll keep doing this. The second was about 5 months later, when we were supposed to run a race at Sherwood High School. And my coaches came up and started reading the list of each individual that was going to be in that race. And it was top 3 in each event. And I was in a mile, and I had the 3rd best time. I knew this for a fact. And he named 3 individuals for the mile. Didn't call my name. I looked at him, and I said, at the end, I said, "Coach, you made a mistake. I'm the 3rd fastest guy, and Sean shouldn't be going. I was 15, don't judge me yet, okay?" Well, my coach looked at me and said, "Why do you care, Flo? You don't want to be here. Sean really cares. Sean goes out there every day, and he works his butt off. You don't. Just because you ran faster doesn't mean that you deserve to be on the team." Well, I said, "Well, coach, this is a 15-year-old again. This is a principle. If I ran faster than him, I should be in that race." And he looked at me and said, "We'll bring you to the meet, but I can't guarantee it. And, just sorry, we already sent the entries up." And I went to that race, and they got me in a race. I never knew this was planned. This was planned by my coaches. They knew exactly how to get under my skin. And they saw a young teenager who needed some molding and motivation. In that race, I'll never forget, I asked my coach, I said, "Who's the fastest guy?" And he pointed at Robbie Shrestha from Paint Branch High School, 6'4", Native American man with a big necklace here who screams, "Rah, right before every race. Scared the heck out of me. I'm over here like, on your marks. Ah! I'm like, what? Go. I'm like, oh, I'm already 5 meters behind everybody else. So I'm chasing this guy, and in the end, I didn't beat him, but I went from running a 5:04 mile to a 4:36. And at that point, I went from insignificant to who's this kid? But really the most important part, I went from, oh my goodness, I'm capable of doing this. What have I been doing? And I need to change my ways. And that was a clicking moment in my life where I went from lazy, bad teammate to, I practiced early on, wanting to better myself, seeking advice, doing the work on the weekends when nobody's watching, and training myself to be one of the best. And I just like that because my coaches.
You mentioned teammate. I understand you performed better in relays than individual. Does that say something about you, Florent?
I don't know. Honestly, I just thought relays were a lot more fun. I like sharing moments with others. And I thought that when you are given a baton, especially as either lead off or anchor, but any part of the race, any leg. But when you're leading off, you're positioning your team. You have this responsibility to get out there and do your part. That way, you don't put your guys behind, and then makes their job a lot harder. When you're anchor, they've done all the work, so you got to finish it. And I thought, that's sports. That's what I love. I love the pressure, but I love my teammates. And then there's nothing like crossing the line with a baton, winning, and having your three guys, or gals, if or just your teammates right there waiting for you with big smiles, and just because you're sharing that moment. And to me, loved it. That was my ecstasy. It was just unbelievable.
So you joined the Army, and I want to talk a little bit about your training that you experienced in the Army. Now, when you were inducted into the Hall of Heroes, Army Secretary Eric Fanning spoke, and I want to read a little bit of the extract from his speech and get your perspective on training. He said, "Our soldiers make choices based on deeply ingrained values taught in basic training. The Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And Flo displayed these all simultaneously in one day, in one brief but decisive moment in Afghanistan." I want you to share with us a little bit about how the training you received instilled those values in you so deeply.
Well, first of all, I see this picture. This is Officer Candidate School. And we got Anderson, we got Cyphers right to my left. I have not spoken to Anderson in a long time. And Cyphers is actually at Fort Bragg right now, company commander. It just kind of shows you the bonds that you make with people. And then it reminds you that, heck, I should give that guy a call. But from the moment I stepped in, I raised my right hand, took the oath, and swore to, defend the Constitution, the flag in the United States against foreign and and domestic enemies. I walked into a completely different world where you learn all those traits, but where you have to be 100% at all times. And I was trained by some of the most incredible individuals in the world, in my opinion. But the best part about it, to my right, to my left, to my front, to my rear, I had America's finest. And we got to go out there and we got to spend a lot of time in the suck. By that I mean a lot of time where you're kind of like, you're doubting your decision. Why the heck am I doing this? Ranger School will be a good example of that. Walking around for 23 hours with a 60-pound ruck and an M240 with a round in the chamber, and if I fall and then a round goes off, then I'm kicked out of school, where you eat 1 or 2 MREs a day. You have all those things, but what I loved about it is I was always challenged. And I was given all the keys to success. But in the end, the way you make it, it has to be internal. You have to believe in the mission, but most importantly, you have to believe in the people around you. And you have to do your part. And if you can do these 3 things, and many more, but these specifically these 3 things, then you're a good team member. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to be able to accomplish anything. Mm-hmm. Mr. Eric Fanning, incredible individual, and I hope he gets confirmed soon as the Secretary of the Army. But he talks about all these, these leadership characteristics and traits. But this is what we do every day. All of us, many of us here. These are the expectations. These are the basics. You have to believe in all these, and you have to go out there and do them. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, in a combat situation, that potentially means that people don't come home. And that is the worst thing that could ever happen.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about, ask you about this one day in particular that changed yours and others' lives. That day back in Afghanistan, 2012, when you did what you describe as your job, but what others, including Congress in their joint resolution, described as your heroic life-saving actions. I know that you were asked this question a great deal and asked to talk about and relive this. And so I'm going to pile on and ask you to do it again. But I'd like you to answer it, especially through the lens of what remains with you in terms of lessons that you take forward, and how does it shape your life today?
So, first of all, this picture is a really powerful picture in my mind and for me. As you can see, there are individuals who obviously were photoshopped in that picture. That's because this is my team prior to August 8, 2012, and then in there is a team post August 8, 2012. And these were the guys that replaced us. And this was a personal security detail for Colonel Mingus and Command Sergeant Major Griffin out of 4th Brigade, 4th ID, Fort Carson. August 8, 2012 was supposed to be a simple patrol. We've done this patrol plenty of times. We're going to the Kunar provinces in eastern Afghanistan, provincial governor's compound for a security meeting. I had in my package, my team that I was protecting, 2 brigade commanders, 3 battalion commanders, an Afghan general, 2 GS-15 State Department individuals, 2 command sergeant majors, 1 brigade level and 1 battalion level, 2 majors, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and then my 6, to include myself, plus extra 2. I'd walked that route plenty of times, that specific tour, but also the previous tour, this was my area of operation as well. So I was very familiar with it. And it was green. By green, that means that it was a pretty safe area. 2009 was the last time anything really happened there, significant, and that was on Afghan. So in regards of, did I feel safe in that area usually? Absolutely. But it's Afghanistan, it's a combat zone, so every time you step out the wire, you're 100%. Because the enemy is really good at picking these sort of soft spots where you think you're comfortable and they're gonna go out there and create damage. That specific year, the Taliban's motto was spectacular attacks. Not as many as usual, but spectacular ones. We're gonna pick our target and we're gonna destroy you. So as we were walking towards the compound on that specific day, things just didn't feel right. And I changed the element. I put my platoon sergeant up front because I trusted him to be able to lead the way, control the pace, and have eyes on. He's my best soldier. And I put PFCC Corps, a rifleman, to his left. And I put about 5 Afghan National Army soldiers up front. I didn't want him in the back. I can't have eyes on him, but I wanted him up front. I wanted to appear bigger than we were. Then, when the way we walked, usually it was in a diamond, well, not usually, every time, diamond formation. And I usually was in the rear, right? So I'm in the back, and I had my medic, Balderrama, to my right. Up front, I had my rifleman, PFCO chart, and to my left, Sergeant Mahoney, my radio man. And then inside that diamond, we have our VIPs. Outside, we have the rest of the team, which usually is 12 to 15 escorts from a receiving unit for where we travel. And if we get attacked, we collapse on the principals, our team, internal, and we take them away, and then the escorts fight the fight. We were not designed to go out there and fight the enemy, hand to hand, you want to call it that. We're designed to collapse, secure, take to safety. Unfortunately, that day did not have that 12 to 15 escort, so we had to improvise. So instead of being in the rear of the diamond, I positioned myself up front because I wanted better eyes on. I took PFCO chart and I put him in my position. The reason why that position is so important is if something happens, you are the first person on the boss, which is the most important person to protect. It's like our president. You take him down, you take him to safety. So I looked at Ochar and I said, look, if anything happens today, I don't care what he says to you. You take him down, you take him to safety. You're the colonel at that point, and he's the PFC. Roger? Roger, yes, sir. Love that, military. Yep, no problem. You tell me to do it, I'll do it. You'll deal with the consequences later, sir. But so, and I put myself up at the spear of this diamond because I wanted eyes on. And make a long story short, as we were walking towards the compound about 200 meters away, not even 100 meters away from the stairs leading to the provincial's compound, 2 motorcycles came at us real fast. And at that point, it was just one of those, I've been there 2009, 2010. I've been there 6 months here. You just kind of know when things are just not right. And the atmosphere didn't feel right that day. Things didn't feel right. I had all the spidey senses kicking up. And now I have 2 motorcycles coming full speed towards my patrol. I didn't like it. Afghan National Army guy did actually a heck of a good job. He start raise his rifle, start screaming and posturing. So the guys dumped their bikes, started running. That ANA guy, Afghan National Army, ANA acronym, he started sprinting after him. By the way, I still don't know what happened to him. Like, he went after him. Like, I remember watching him just take off. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, he's, what's happening here? But what happened at a specific moment, a man came out of a structure to our left. So this was a diversion. They were coming at us knowing that we were going to be fixated at the motorcycles, and it allowed him to walk out of the structure. And he was walking backwards and parallel to us. The reason I saw him is because my platoon sergeant, who was up front, turned around to make eye contact with me to see if I was tracking what was happening. As he was making eye contact with me, he started looking to my left, which prompted me to look to my left. As I looked to my left, I saw him walking backwards parallel to our patrol, and I thought, what is this guy doing? And then he did a 180 and a 90-degree turn and came in at us. And at that specific moment when he did that 180 and was about to turn, I left my position towards him because he's a threat. I just didn't know what kind of threat he was. I didn't see a weapon, so I couldn't shoot him. They didn't want to end up on CNN, right? Leavenworth, that would be terrible. But so you go, you have to assess the threat. Escalation of force. It's a very real thing. And in this case, my escalation of force was yell, hit, grab, throw, and hopefully no one gets hurt. And that's what happened. I yelled at him. I hit him across the chest with my rifle. When I hit him across the chest with my rifle, I felt that he had at that point, I didn't know it was exactly a vest, a suicide vest. So I let go of my rifle, and I grabbed him by that vest, and that's when I realized, oh, this is a bomb. And Sergeant Mahoney, this whole time, is following me. He's like, I could picture him thinking, oh, hell, here we go. LT is about to get himself in trouble again. Let's get the NCOs to help him out, So he's going straight out there and just follow me right into it. And that's what I love about him, is the fact that he saw me potentially entered in a situation where we don't come back, and he didn't think twice about it. He went with it. And that's the military brotherhood that we'll talk about. But and I said, bomb, and all I could think of, we have to throw him away as fast as possible, as far as possible. And I threw him, Mahoney finished him off, and he landed at my feet, and he detonated. And then he killed Command Sergeant Major Griffin, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and Reggie Abdel Fattah.
Well, we'll talk about those people shortly, and thank you for sharing that. You were hurt significantly. Your recovery seemed to be brutal. You had, I believe, 33 separate surgeries. You lost 50% of your calf. You have no feeling below the knee on one leg. Your ligaments in your feet are all fused together. And yet, within 5 months, I understand you ran a mile unassisted on a treadmill. And I've just got one question for you. How on earth did you do that?
Okay, so, all right. A little different than that. I did do that unassisted on a treadmill, but it's one of those. I don't even know the name of it. It's one of those bubbles. It's like running on the moon. it's a gravity type of thing. It's for recovering. If you have stress fractures or injuries, it just takes away the pressure. So I did it on that. And I kind of walked out and been telling everyone, yeah, I ran that fast. But I can't do it now. But, you know, leading into the hospital, the one lesson I did learn on August 8, 2012 is how grateful, blessed, and honored I've been to have served with some of our, in the military, in the Army, specifically because the one thing I used to think about a lot at night in the hospital was how incredibly professional the guys around me were. And not just on this tour, but the tour prior as well. That when it's the most chaotic scene, they're at their best. I saw a specialist, Balrama, who saved my life. He saved my life because I was bleeding out. He's 22 years old. He's got a blown MCL, PCL, concussion, and he's in a ditch saving my life. I saw a 19-year-old PSC who just had a baby running around and marking people through triage. I saw a 30-year-old man taking over the entire scene, telling me, "You're done, sir. You fought your fight. I got this." They were devastated, but they were at their best. When I was in the hospital, you know, I was not a good person the first 4 months. Nope, absolutely not. I was angry. I was devastated. I had that survivor's guilt every night when all the visits and everybody went away. You know, it's just you and your thoughts. You're sitting in a bed, you can't move for 4 months. And all you think about is, why am I here? Why did I live? How is it possible for me to have lived when the guy blew up at my feet and 4 men, incredible men, died when they were about 10 to 15 feet away? What is this plan? I didn't get it. I didn't want anybody around me. I didn't want to be on the medications, the ketamine, the oxys, the Dilaudid. The only way I slept was through IV Benadryl. But that all changed in November of 2012 when Travis Mills walked into my room. And he's a quadruple amputee. And I guess he had heard that I was sort of a hard case, to say the least, and that I needed some motivation and a good talk to. And nobody could get through to me, not even my family, not my friends. You know, I'd had my good moments, but really my bad moments were pretty bad. And he walked in there and he said, hey, sir, what a great day to be alive. What a great day to be an American. How you doing? Your Bears suck at football. So I see a quadruple amputee in front of me walking with his prosthetics. So immediately I'm in sync with him. I can't believe it. And then he just insulted my Bears. So now we're enemies. But then he told me that he's an American and he's grateful to be alive. So we're best friends. And after 15 minutes in that room, it was one of those things. Remember that story about high school? Just like that, it all changed. People believing in me, but challenging me in an unconventional way by allowing me to learn that I can get through it on my own with the right support system. It's exactly what happened here. Internally, I made a decision at a specific moment to be done, absolutely done with the negativity. That at that point, I had to be a better human being. I had to earn the right to still be on this earth. I had to honor the memories of my fallen friends and brothers. And I need to stop complaining because everything that you just read about my injuries are nothing, absolutely nothing compared to what the majority of our guys at Walter Reed go through. I had a man that lost all 4 limbs come into my room to tell me to suck it up, stop being a crybaby, be respectful, and earn the right to still be on this earth in a nice way.
I understand you played a lot of video games while you were there and read a lot of books. And I'm wondering,
nothing else to do.
I'm wondering, any books make a mark on you
Well,
during that time?
so Marcus Aurelius, read his book, read his background. I mean, that's just what a leader. And it just, it was therapeutic for me. Just the way he spoke about what a true, in regards to how to take care of your man and plan and things like that, to me was just, I read it and I saw it from, the Mingus to, Sergeant First Class Staley, and I was just so driven by it. But really, another book, military-wise, is The Afghan Campaign, because that was one of my moments where I read that in those first 4 months, and that's when I got I would get really emotional in my own head. Couldn't cry, but I was always emotional in my own head because I just read about Alexander the Great going through the same spots that I went through and dealing with the same type of enemy and all the sacrifices that they've made, and how over thousands of years things have not changed, because in the end it's the same ethos and it's the same love and the brotherhood that men have with each other, men and women have with each other, specifically in combat. Whether you're fighting with knives or hand-to-hand combat, or now, our weapon system. In the end, it is the exact same thing. Caring for one another and doing this for your family, your country. Mm-hmm. And those books, those two specific books, really made an impact on me.
You've consistently, Florent, talked about the conflict you feel in receiving the award and the recognition. Talk to us a little bit about that conflict.
Well, that's the grades right here. When I received a call on September 21st, 2015, last year, and it said, "Please hold for the President of the United States," at that specific moment in my head, I knew that I was receiving the Medal of Honor, and I didn't want it. I was hoping that the call would be for either I was being, investigated for some crazy stuff that we've done in Afghanistan, which we did not do anything, okay, or the Distinguished Service Cross, which is the medal that they had initially, pushed for me, because I was comfortable in my own life, and I just wanted to move on. I wanted to move on August 8, 2012, and I thought the families also wanted to move on from it. And we knew that there was one more celebration, if you want to call it that, which is absolutely incorrect word to describe it. And then when the president called, I said, I thought, that's it. Now we're going to have to speak about this for a long time. And, I was just, when I hung up the phone, I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited. I was confused. I was sad, and I was scared, because I was scared to call the Gold Star families, Cammie, Heather, Pam, to tell them, hey, by the way, I'm receiving the Medal of Honor, and everybody's going to go out there and high-fiving me and telling me congratulations. I'm sorry, because I couldn't bring home your loved ones. And it would be I can't do this without you. I need you to come to the ceremony and be there, because this medal belongs to your husbands and to you. True heroes in this story, if you want to call it that. It doesn't belong to me. I'm just a courier. And I've been lucky. I've been blessed in my life over and over and over and over again. In this case, all of them were so proud, so excited. Kennedys came under can we bring his mom? Can we bring his dad, brothers, and everybody? I was like, bring everybody. It's your day. It's yours. We're gonna go out there, and every time I wear this medal and I speak, people will hear about your family and they will hear about your husband. Because in the truth, this is way bigger than any human being. This is the Medal of Honor. This is not mine. Absolutely not. It is an impossibility for a human being to own this medal. It represents something way bigger. In my specific personal case, it represents Command Sergeant Major Griffin, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, Reggie Abdel Fattah, and their families. Americans, patriots, men who went out there and sacrificed it all for all of us. And I promise you one thing. If they were back here today, they would do all over again, because they believed in their mission, they believed in their country, and they're what you call a hero. Not me. I'm just a courier. So.
You've talked about dedicating your life to those individuals and their families. How does that manifest? What does it actually mean to do that?
Well, you no longer worry about who you are and what you want to accomplish on personal goals. You go out there, you make a difference in the community. You go out there and you support others. You know, it's just because in the end, when I go meet back, we're all going to meet back up, right? You know, we'll go upstairs and they're going to see me. They're going to welcome me back, hopefully, and they're going to say two things: you didn't earn it, or you did a pretty good job. Now have a beer. If we can do that, I'll be happy. And I want to do this by living my life and trying to make a positive difference in our communities. And if I can do that, then I will officially earn the right to wear this medal.
Well, we're so proud to have you as a spokesperson for the veteran community with LinkedIn. You know, I've got here Matt Sanders, teammate of yours,
Of course.
at University of Maryland, said some people would never be able to go back into normal life, but returning 100% to himself after what he's been through, that's amazing. I'm wondering what advice you might have for our transitioning vets.
First of all, you know, I transitioned about a year ago, and I found a lot of different challenges. But the biggest thing I've learned since that specific year is do not undersell yourself. My goodness, are you wanted, needed out there? You have a tremendous set of skills that you cannot teach in school. I'm just telling you the truth. You have life skills. You are leaders. Such little things such as punctuality, grooming standards, time management, teamwork, mission centrics. Just these few little things here. Loyalty, integrity. That's a basis to the military. That's our basic. That's our foundation. This is what we go out there with. Now, we're flexible, adaptable, and we're driven to accomplish the mission no matter what. People want that. Companies want that. You not agree?
I totally agree.
I think LinkedIn want that. That's why they got Greg Call here. Absolutely. So don't sell yourself short. Do not set bars that you feel like you cannot reach over. Absolutely. Get rid of those bars. You want to run, you want to become the next CEO of LinkedIn? It's a possibility. Go out there and, go do your thing. In the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to work our butts off to make sure that you get the opportunity to sit at that table. You get the opportunity to go out there and be recognized for what you've done, but really you get the opportunity to go get that interview, to get that face-to-face. Because I think that's an issue that we're struggling with a little bit. And then so we're going to fix that, and we're going to fix that perception that we have in our own minds. We're going to combine it together, and we're going to create a platform. And after that, I'm going to be working for you. Hopefully.
So we're going to open it up for questions in a minute. And so there's a microphone right in the middle there. So if you have questions for Florent, he's going to be happy to answer them. But before we do that, I've got one last question that I wanted to ask you. During the ceremony for your induction into the Hall of Heroes, Defense Secretary Ash Carter quoted the Roman historian Tacitus, and he said, "In valor there is hope." What is the hope that you have in your heart today?
I hope that in the end, when it's all said and done, I mentioned that earlier, but I hope that people can look at me and say, you know what, this guy, he did right. He was a good person, and he made a difference, a positive difference. He wasn't about himself. He truly, for the rest of his life, not just today, me speaking, next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, till the day, I get to go 6 feet under, that I followed the same mindset and dedication and motivation, and I did good in our world. And that's my hope. That's my hope, that I'm always able to do this. And I know I'm going to go through my struggles. I know I'm going to go through many obstacles. Life, that's what we all go through. I just hope that I make the right turns and I keep going forward. And I get more opportunities to influence others. And I get more opportunities to be influenced by others. It's a simple Simple methods, simple plan. It's life. So.
Well, it's been tremendous hearing some of these life lessons. I've taken a tremendous amount out of this, and I think that two things that have struck me in this conversation as it relates to specifically to leadership is the concept of believing in your people and giving them exciting and interesting challenges.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you so much for coming here. I want to open it up to questions, but before I do, please give a huge round of applause for.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
Great job.
Thank you.
Flo, thanks for coming to speak with us and partnering with LinkedIn to help our vets initiatives. Really appreciate it. It was, I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone that this was truly inspiring. I'm sure we all got something out of it. So you joined, like a lot of us, post 9/11, when the time when our country was engaged in two theaters of operations of war, both in Afghanistan and Iraq. We all have different reasons why we joined. So curious of why you decided to join the Army. What values attracted you to serving?
So the reason why I joined the United States Army is because I was deeply affected, as everybody here in this room was on 9/11. I just, I was in college, I was a freshman, and when I saw, I missed the first plane, but I saw the second plane hit, I was in shock. But to me, that was just the end. That was a catalyst for, in terms of regards to I'm joining, because my mother is French Algerian, and my uncle fought against the GIA in Algeria, and he was killed in February of 1996. He was shot and he was beheaded by a terrorist organization that nobody really knew about in the United States. So I had that personal experience there. And now I come here, my new country, I just got naturalized, in February, which, by the way, I did not even know, because I signed a piece of paper that my mom gave me when I was 17, and apparently that was my naturalization paperwork, and now everybody knows about this. It's like, how do you feel about being an immigrant? It's like, well, I don't know. I felt like I always grew up French, American, but that was it. So I called my father and I told him, hey, Dad, I'm dropping out of school. I'm going to join the United States Army. I want to become an Army Ranger. And my dad said, you're a Groberg. And when we start something in our family, we finish it. So you go out there and you get your degree. And once you get your degree, you go serve your country. In the meantime, don't you dare worry, because this is the United States of America, and Americans step up. And your brothers and sisters around you are going to go out there and going to do a heck of a job. And they've been doing this for a long time. They know what they're doing. Just when you get there and it is your opportunity, you better do the right thing. And you better be the right leader for them. So 9/11 was that moment that I knew exactly where I was going to be once I graduated from the University of Maryland. And so that was it. And then, it was in my head, and I followed my plan.
Hi, I think I'm the only representative here from the United States Navy, but I want to thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service.
My question is, I remember Tet 68 and then coming home. And I'm so thankful that our men and women coming home now are received in, let's just say, a brighter light. I wanted to ask you, during your time of service, was the inter-service cooperation, did it get any better as your service went on?
In terms of which when you say inter-service connection?
Well, to give you an example, if in Vietnam, when we would, say, do a little activity in a certain place,
Yes.
the services couldn't wait to get in to take credit for it. Now, I know that you have mixed regiments. You'll have SEALs, you'll have Rangers, you'll have, but they're all working together.
Right.
Do you feel that is a plus on a battlefield?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love working with Marines. They're crazy. Hey, go run through that wall, Roger. You know, devil dog, you know.
Usually it's how many times you want me to.
You know, when it got hot and it got a little scary, we had JTACs, Air Force, and you know, I'd tell my JTAC guy, I'd be like, hey, Textron, a little show of force, or I need a 500-pounder right here.
Yeah, just-
And so, yeah, absolutely. SEALs, when we closed down the Korengal, we had Delta, we had Rangers, we had SEALs, we had everybody. On my own specific cop in 2009, the group that was working with the Afghan National Army were Marines. So I think when it comes down to being in combat, I'm a Marine, I'm an Army, I'm Navy, I'm, you know, Coast Guard, we have Coast Guards out there.
Right.
That goes away. Because in the end, all you care about is the flag on your uniform, United States. And you all have one mission. And you all have one part and one goal. Come home with everyone while accomplishing the mission. So, and then when we get home, we got our coins, we got the bar, we'll go out there and we'll go tell our stories and, you know, Marines, whatever, you know, Navy this and stuff. But in terms of the brotherhood and working together, we're super in sync. And I'm so happy, I think when Crystal came out here and spoke, and you know, what an incredible individual who, you know, took that mindset of we can't work together in special operations, and when he created JSOC and said, absolutely not, the most effective way for us to be lethal and successful is by all of us working together. And he did a heck of a job. And right now, I mean, we always had, but my goodness, is our special operations community the best in the world without anybody close to being competitive to it.
Great. Thanks so much.
Good morning, sir. I'm Second Lieutenant Jorge Barriere with the 129th Rescue Wing. First off, you know, it's an honor. Thank you for coming and telling your story, and thank you to LinkedIn too for you know, putting this together and having us here. You tell your story, seems like almost every day, and I imagine that you relive that day and that moment, you know, multiple times in your head. What tools and techniques do you use to maintain your resilience, like to be able to not have to fall back into that low place, you know? And I'm speaking, you know, everyone in the crowd here, we've all been through struggles. We may not have been blown up by a suicide bomber, but you know, what type of advice do you have for, you know, being resilient and kind of bouncing back from something like that?
It's a great question. So I have a purpose. And my purpose is the way I cope with it, and my purpose is to talk about the guys that didn't come home and their families, to talk about our veterans and who we are and how amazing it is for individuals to specifically my generation has, you know, following the path of past generations, but to volunteer and go serve when we could do anything. But really it's, in the end, thinking in the back of my head, reminding myself that I got out of that hole with a support system and the help of others. And I made a promise to myself that I would honor them, honor my 4 guys. So when I tell the story, in the back of my head, there are a lot of emotions. My heart, there's a lot of emotions. But I have a mission, and that mission is to bring awareness to who we are in terms of individuals who serve our country. Because I tell you what, it's pretty exceptional. It is the greatest organization in the world, in my opinion. And so I deal with it. But when it's myself at home, you got to have that close support system of, you know, specific individuals who will be there for you. Because I'm speaking here, I'm smiling and things like that. I'm telling you my story. But if you think that I'm a happy person every day, you're wrong. Absolutely. I go through my struggles to this day. I get the occasional, you know, dreams, and I get the occasional anger bouts. But because I had the right people around me, they were really quick to identify those specific moments and kind of be like, hey man, it's okay. So it's a struggle, always. But when you have a purpose behind it and you're mission driven, you can get through anything. And so this is therapeutic for me right here.
All right, thanks, sir.
Well.
Hello, Florent. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all the men and women who are here in this room and online streaming right now who served our country. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We love you all. My question is, how can military families and friends of transitioning military members best support and help them transition from the military life into the civilian world?
So that's a great question. You know, we all the great things that I brought up earlier about hiring veterans and, you know, giving them opportunities and things like that. We're gonna have moments where it's a little bit different military mindset and, you know, civilian mindset. So be supportive of that. Understand where they're coming from and give them advice. Guide them in the right way. You know, do it out there. Be like, hey, by the way, I'll give you an example. It's probably not a great example, but when I was wounded, I had an internship with Warriors Ethos, Intelligent Waves, Jared Shepard. If you ever read what I write, he's one of my big mentors. And he had a board meeting. In his board meeting, I was drinking a bottle of water. I finished my bottle of water, so the next thought in my head was, well, I got a can of tobacco in my pocket. Maybe I need to put a pinch of tobacco in my mouth. So I went, whoop, whoop. Everybody in that room kind of looked at me like, oh. But nobody said a thing. At the end, he took me aside. He said, hey, Flo, so don't ever do that again. I said, what? He's like, I get it, infantry, everybody dips, but you cannot do this in corporate America. You cannot do this. There's no tobacco chewing, spitting, especially in the clear, bottles. Come on, man. And I looked at him and was like, wow, that makes sense. No, a little guidance, a little mentorship. Kind of setting us up for success. Because we can bring a lot to the table, but there's a lot of things we just don't know about. And so when you go out there and you give them an opportunity, you tell them, hey, by the way, here are some ways for success. This is how people here, mingle. This is how they talk. This is what they like to do. Maybe you'll want to do that. Maybe you won't. But this is a reality. Kind of give us a picture of what we're walking into. And if you can do that, you support them when they have questions, be there for them. I think that's going to make a world of difference.
Thank you.
Hi, Florent. Thank you so much for your service and sharing your experiences with us today at LinkedIn. My question for you is a selfish one. I'm the proud mother of an NROTC student at CU Boulder, and I'm wondering what advice you would give to our future leaders.
Listen to your NCOs. Rule number one, if you're going to become an officer, seek mentorship. Go out there. Understand the history of understand the history of what you want to get yourself into. I had guys in my team, who didn't know anything about 4th Brigade 405D, who didn't know anything about 212 Infantry, didn't know anything about, and not just dating back to the Vietnam era, World War II, or literally dating back to a couple years prior where we were deployed at. They didn't know our unit was in Korea, and then we moved to, we're at Hood, and then we went out there to, Iraq and then Afghanistan. Just a little background. But really, to surround himself around people who are winners, who have the same type of mindset, who want to be successful, and to go out there and be sort of a fly on the wall. That is a motto of success for me. I go out there and I seek these individuals who are successful in what I want to do, and I ask them questions. Sometimes I'm kind of annoying, but, I want to know everything that drives them. I want to know how they got there, why they do certain things a certain way. And then I want to know if they think I'm actually following in the right path.
Great. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's John McAllister. I'm an elected official for the city of Mountain View, and I want to say thank you for coming here, and also to the 63rd, the 129th, and 351. And we're honored to have them here, and so you coming along just makes it even better for the city of Mountain View. My question is to you, what would you say to elected officials to help the vets, to help you, to help any of these programs, and what can you say to us that you don't think we're hearing?
Well, I'm trying to be very tactful.
We're all friends. Just let it go.
Well, yeah. I think there's a misunderstanding of who our military, service members are and what they really do, how they got there, and what their goals are, and what they can bring to the table in the political world. I think I would recommend, instead of asking me, what do I think they should do? I think they should just go out there and spend time with our troops. That should be a requirement. Go out there to the bases and don't just go out there and shake hands for like 2 minutes. Hey, thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. How about spend a whole day, couple days, go to the field, go to the classroom, listen to the way they talk to each other, go to a board meeting. Board meeting. See, that corporate world got me. Oh, goodness. And see the way, who we are internally, because that will shape your ideas. You'll understand us better. I can talk to you all day about how great the military is, but in the end, you need to personally experience it. And I think a lot of our officials, higher up specifically right now in Washington, are making some pretty interesting decisions without knowing what our military really brings to the table, or who we are as individuals. But that's just a specific few. The fact that you're here right now, you specifically, I'm going to pick on you, sir.
That's okay.
And you ask this question, just speaks volumes of what you're doing and how you're going to represent us. So for that, I thank you.
You're welcome. And just a little plug. We have a big annual parade on the Saturday, and the 63rd and the 129th and the 351 have all been invited. So if you're in town, we'd love to have you come down and be one of our honored guests too.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think I got the honor of the last question today.
Uh-oh. Hey, we got a Marine asking the last question. We're in trouble.
So I get the honor and privilege of being able to talk to this guy a lot, and he shares a lot of stories with me. And so one thing when I first was about to meet you, I'm like, it'd be super fascinating to just learn, like, what is it like when you're like getting this news that you're going to be receiving the Medal of Honor? You're going to be a Medal of Honor recipient. Like, what goes on? Like, flow. Like, tell me that story. Like, what's the lead up? And like, most importantly, like, what do you do after you get that news? Like, that's epic news. And
I know where you're
and so
going.
this guy shared a little bit of a story with me that I would love for him to share with the crowd of kind of the build up and then sort of the aftermath of finding out that you're going to receive this award.
Well, I guess so. I'd heard rumors about receiving the medal. No, I'd heard rumors that I was put in for the medal a year prior. And then about 6 months prior to me actually getting a phone call, I had heard that, hey, squashed, Distinguished Service Cross, it's been approved and you're going to get it at some point. But I was moving on in my life. I was transitioning out. I had medically retired in July and I was moving on. I was working for the federal government and I was doing some fun stuff. So on the Tuesday prior to September 21st, I can't think the date exactly, 15th, 14th, whatever, 16th, I had received really good news from my own personal job. I was going to go to a pretty elite area and do some cool stuff, and I was just so pumped. The following day, I got a call from Colonel Slaney, of all people. I love that man. He's great. He says, "Is this Florent Groberg?" Yes. And this is Colonel Slaney at Pentagon. I'm just going to call you to let you know that a senior high-ranking official from the Pentagon will call you on September 21st between the hours of 1400 and 1430. Is this a good phone number for you? Yeah, roger that, sir. He's like, all right, good. You cannot miss this call. Be ready for the phone call. He's like, and he hung up. So all I could think was, what did I do? And so I was like, oh man. I was like, this is either like I'm in trouble or this is probably something about the award. And all I could think was Kyle Carpenter, the Marine Corps recipient. I saw his YouTube thing and he said he expected a call from the president. So I was excited because I was like, oh, that means that senior high-ranking official in the Pentagon has the Distinguished Service Cross. So that clears that no medal, and now I can move on with my life. Get this, I got great news the day before. We'll do a ceremony, whatever, and then I'm moving on with my life. And then so I told my boss this, and my boss goes, take the half day, go out there and get this phone call. He's like, but be prepared for anything. Could be the medal, could be the Distinguished Service Cross, could be we got to call a lawyer, you know. So I said, all right, roger that. And I sat there with my girlfriend, and we waited in my apartment in D.C. in 1400, 1410, 1415, nothing. 1425, pick up the phone. Hello. Hi, this is so-and-so from the White House. And that's when I knew. I was like, oh, okay. You know, would you mind holding for the president? I was like, yes. I remember I kept saying yes. It's like, is your name Charlie Brown? Yes. No. Yes. You know, I was so like nervous at that point. And finally, the president got on the phone, and we talked for about 5 minutes, and we had met before. So the first thing he said, hey, you know, Flo, Mr. President of the United States. Yeah, sir, how you doing? You know, Mr. President. And he said, no formalities, we know each other, blah, 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 blah. Told me about the medal, and I'm shaking my head, I'm moving around, just wearing my Cubbies t-shirt, just kind of like nervous. I'm speaking to the President of the United States on my cell phone. And he told me about the expectations of it, and then he gave me a direct order. Direct order was, do not tell anyone about this. So I was like, okay, sir. So immediately I was like, I hung up. And I thought about that. I told Carson, I said, I just got a direct order from the President of the United States not to speak about this to anyone. But if I don't tell my mother, I'm not going to make it to the ceremony. So I guess I had to disobey the president within a couple of minutes of him talking to me. But the thing is, after that, you know, you go back to life, right? So put the phone down, you know, talk to Carson about it. Couple seconds, and then she sat on the couch, started watching, you know, clicked it back on for watching Ellen. And then I just started writing my grad school paper, you know, that I had. And that was it. That was the rest of the day. That was September 21st, 2015. You know, the medal doesn't represent you, it represents something greater. I'm honored to have it. I hope I earn the right to wear it. I hope I make good on it for the rest of my life. And I hope I really represent every single individual who is serving currently, who has served. And I hope together we can make a bigger difference. And if I'm out of line ever, I'm sure that it is the military, that you guys will tell me, hey, dude, you're out of line. I don't care where you come from, what you're wearing, you're out of line. And that's why I think you guys represent the best of us. And it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the United States of America as an infantry officer, wear the colors, and call myself and earn the right to call myself an American. So thank you.
Great job, man. Thank you, Florent.
And can we get a quick round of applause for all the service members that are in the house today as well, all the veterans? You know, I found this extremely inspiring, so I hope you did as well. Like we said, Florent's been gracious enough. We'll set up a little table over here. We'd love everybody to get a photo and an autograph of the beautiful flyer that we passed out. So please take advantage of that. You know, very humbled to have you here today, Florent. Very humbled that you've accepted a role to lead, you know, and be the face of our veterans programs here at LinkedIn. And when Flo came out to his visit here, we knew he was on a mission. And we're on a mission here at LinkedIn to do great things for our veteran community and do great things for transitioning veterans. So welcome to the family, and we're humbled to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And so thanks everybody for coming today. Once again, speakerseries.linkedin.com. You can tune in for all streaming of the event. And please come meet Flo, grab a picture. And if you're sticking around for the lunch today, it's just going to be downstairs. Just see one of the representatives on the outside of the auditorium here, and they'll get you where you need to go. Thank you.